Quarter Scale Gravedigger Part 16. Well, still working on the brakes. I still think my best bet is the cable design over the cylinder there inside the wheel. There's just not enough room inside that wheel. I've only got 5 inches in diameter. Not enough room for a rotor and a caliper to try to fit a disc brake in there. So I'm still figuring out how I'm going to make this work. Got the cable, 2 cables coming in the center and going up towards the front. So that's still on the drawing board. Got the fuel cell mounted. There's the servo for the brake, and it's close to the engine, so I can hook it up to the carburetor. And I've been working on a new front end. Speaking of which, there's the old one. I should make a good long paperweight. So now I have a round front axle. Better, I hope you can. It's not a drive axle. I still want to wait to see how my gearing works on the rear end before I go through all that work again and make another drive axle for the front. Plus, to incorporate steering is going to be a major challenge. And here's my own design for a servo saver. Kind of like a shock, but internally it's got 2 springs, one on either side of the piston. So let's turn on the radio here. Made the mount for the servo rounded like that, so it kind of sort of gives it the look of a pumpkin in the center. Action. To give you an idea of the modifications that are needed to go along with the new front end, if you look at the old front end, you notice where the mounts for the upper links are. They're on the outer edge of the axle. Well, now the new one with the round axle, it's mounted right in the center. So the links have to be lengthened to get the proper alignment of the front end. You can see the extra threads here on the link, and then the mounts for the sway bar were on the upper portion of the old axle, so now it's a lot lower to get to the center of the axle. So now these rods here have to be remade, make them longer, and then the limiting straps are too short as well. Limiting straps. It's not quite long enough. So, got to do all that. Hopefully have everything ready by Memorial Day. The next race at Digger's Dungeon. Can't tell, but I got the headlights on. To be continued. So let's talk more about brakes. A lot of people have commented or suggested that I put a single disc on the drive shaft, which would make it more like a real monster truck, more realistic, which is true, but I don't want to put it on the drive shaft because it would put more stress on the gears that are on the HPI 5B differential that were custom machined to fit onto the differential. If you look at this picture here, that's the special bevel gear that I machined to fit onto the diff. And I lucked out. The first one I did, then it fit just right. So the less wear and tear on that gear, the better off I am. So I want to stick with the twin brakes, if you will, which should give me twice the braking power. Instead of braking in one location, it'll brake on two. And if you look at this Scavenger here, if you look at that rotor, if you will, that's about as small as you can get. And to mount that onto the axle, onto the hub there, it would have to fit on the inside of that hub, of that larger, of this location here. It would have to fit on the inside of it. And to mount it like that, it would be even further inside the wheel, so then it would fit inside that smaller diameter portion of the wheel. And there's just not enough room. So I'm still going to, I know you've heard this before, I'm still going to stick with my cable brakes. I know it may not be the best, well, it may be the best performing way, I'm hoping, but it's not the best scale way of doing it. And to show you where I got the idea from, here's another scratch built that I've had for a while. And looking inside here, there's an aluminum disc right here with a cable going around it, going up to a servo. That's more of a direct connection. And this thing is a heavy, I think it's like 15 pounds. And when I was driving this on pavement, I hit the brakes, it would lock up the rear tires on pavement. So that's what I'm gonna try. Hey man, there's my driver helping out. To be continued.